Hi everyone, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot. And today we're going to be discussing the crone or the matriarchy. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. So we're going to be talking about strong, independent women in this episode.
Yes. Yeah, speaking of strong, independent women, if you didn't check out the last one, Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc.
She's
that
an
was so
archetype. Sorry, we got the dad joke
A
out
cathedral. That's architect. For those that didn't get the joke.
Love it. I love it. I'm excited to talk about all these strong women right before Mother's Day come in.
Oh, I am too, actually.
Women.
I think this is a great, topic of whatever for the week. So with Rethrone the Crone, we're kind of going to be talking about how in some cultures, the crone and just, the female energy, the female archetype, or whatever the fuck Amber just said, kind of got, a little lowered. But in ancient society, we was kind of important. And even in some modern societies, we were just discussing, Mexican culture, it's very important to take care of your mom, mother, your grandma, Hispanic cultures. Is it Japan? Or no, I'm sorry, is it China where they take care of their moms? Well,
I think it's just the Asian culture in general, they take care of both of their parents.
Right, that's true.
That's a thing that the son does, and that's why they want to have a son.
Because they take care of their parents.
They do, they take care of their parents. But, there's also, the whole thing about, that female energy that's in charge, the matriarchal, matrilineal. So we'll talk about the difference between matrilineal and matriarchal, as well as the difference between matriarchal and just crone, what the wise woman who is a revered part of the system. And one thing that I kind of sadly discovered as I was looking at matriarchies, they still exist in this day and age, but
not where we live.
No. Well,
I know it's really common to have that wise woman type in certain indigenous cultures. I know that in the ancient Nordic cultures or Norse cultures, certain villages, if not every village, had one specific crone or older woman that kind of helped make decisions and overlook the village itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and she could ask for anything.
And I mean, this is where in past we've kind of had similar discussions, and there's also always wise men in the situation.
Yes.
There's very much a duality that we don't see anymore.
Right, exactly.
Now we see in the patriarchy, which is why I looked up so much about the matriarchy.
Sorry to keep mentioning the patriarchy.
You had brought up the patriarchy when we were talking about what we were going to talk about. So that's why I had looked so much into the matriarchy, because it's the opposite of the patriarchy.
Right.
But because we experienced so much of the patriarchy, we don't see that duality that was experienced in those previous cultures, because they had, the Druids, for instance. You talk about Norse, the Druids were Celtic, but the Druids, there were the priests, the Druid priests, but they also had the females that did their own space of revered. They were revered in their own right, equal to the Druid priests, is what I'm trying to say. Well, they didn't do the exact same function, but they had equal power in the spiritual rights of everything. They had equal access to the community, and the community had equal access to them as they did the Druid priests. But we have seen the female part go away. We have nuns. And women fought to be priests. I'm not taking that away from y'all. Y'all that are now in the pastorhood of current era Christianity. Props to you, chicks.
Would you consider nuns equal to priests?
No.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't think so.
No, because that's what I mean. Lately, the best we've got is the female the female
Priests.
priests that have fought for their right to do that.
Also, speaking of modern,
Sorry, guys. Excuse me, YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should we put?
No, you're good. I'm just gonna stick this over here. It's outside the door.
Oh.
I saw a text come through. Sorry, guys.
Speaking of modern equality, kind of like that. So let's talk about modern paganism for a minute. You mentioned priests and nuns. We've got high priestesses in modern paganism as well as high priests. Now, would you put those equal, or would you say nowadays, for some reason, high priests are almost put above high priestesses are almost put above high priests?
I do think that in current era practice, the priestess has outranked the priest in most practices. Not all practices, but in most practices. And it has become
a conversation.
It has become a conversation. It's become very female-centric to the point that it's almost exclusive of men. We talked about it when we talked with Kevin.
That was season one of our first episodes.
No, it was one of our last episodes. It was a maternity leave
episode.
It
was. So that was a good episode.
Yeah, it was.
Well, and the thing is, like, at least in terms of modern paganism, that I have done research on, and not all of it is like this. Not all of it is like this. Disclaimer, not all of it is like this. I have simply read a few books where the mentality with high priestess versus high priest is high priestess, the female, has more connection to the divine with the goddess, whereas the high priest has more connection with the earth and the grounding. So that's kind of where they come together in that spiritual sort of way, where she can reach out and she's more in tune with one world and he's more in tune with this world, and they sort of balance each other out. It's also why most of the high priests do more of the physical work when it comes to rituals, because they're more in tune with this realm, and then the high priestess will do more of the spiritual work during the rituals.
Interesting. Like everything.
So it's a balance, but not,
And here's where what you read, it comes into play, guys.
Totally, like,
it does, because
so much.
I've never read that. Like what I've read is that the high priestess has connection to the goddess.
Yes.
And the high priest has connection to the god.
Yeah.
And that, it's just the masculine energy versus the feminine energy. And there seems to be this belief that the feminine energy has more access to the divine than the masculine energy. And ergo, you're going to gain a better connection and a better understanding through that female leader than you are that male leader, which I'm all about duality.
We're just discussing well, you know what? I should clarify then, because I believe that what I was referring to was specifically goddess working with the goddess worship, as opposed to goddess and god, the two. Because I feel like they have that difference, where they're both divine. And I mean, I guess they're both divine in the same instance, with mainly like goddess work or goddess centric work, but different. You get what I'm saying?
I do. Okay. I get what you're saying. Okay. No, I totally do.
So I feel that's where that difference is.
I'm finding an interest in just the difference of the things that we've read, because I'm presuming, and I don't mean to assume or presume in any crappy way, but I'm assuming you're talking about Wiccan practice predominantly. That's usually high priestess and high priest. That's usually Wiccan.
You know what? I can't even say one or the other, if I'm being honest with you, because at some point it all kind of like, it's like a melting pot. Now, when I was starting out, I did first start out in Wicca. So maybe that's what it is, and it's still just kind of stuck in my brain. And look, no hate on Wicca. I'm not hating on Wicca in the sense.
That's the only place that I've seen high priest and high priestess, and that is the only reason I asked, guys.
Well, and I just want to say that because I feel like Wicca gets a bad rep, but I think it's a really... It's a lot of people's introduction into paganism. You know what I mean? Even though that's not the topic we're on. Maybe Maybe sometime in the future, but I do think it's used as an introduction into paganism for many people.
Amber might get canceled by her own audience, so I don't know that we can do that.
I don't know.
I'm not saying anything
pretty popular to hate on Wicca, so maybe not.
Oh, well, it's not that I hate on. I just have no interest in. Mm-hmm. I don't want to continue.
From the research and the reading that I've done,
I'm an intuitive witch. You can't.
It's so similar
you can't slap down a book of rules for me and have me follow it. Like I'm an intuitive witch, and that's. I think that's a good place to leave that for Amber anyway.
Well, no, it's okay. There's not really. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, that was my introduction. That's why I think I feel kind of like, oh, you gotta read about it to understand. But like.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Like, that's when I've everything that I've read when I read High Priestess and High Priest, it usually has to do with Wicca.
And it very well could be. Well could be where I read it. That's why I apologize because it's been so long since I've done research on Wicca. Maybe that's why it's stuck in my head. But it wasn't really
original stuff sticks with me.
Exactly.
Very solidly. You know.
Well, and like I was saying though, like. I think maybe a lot of people have that mentality. I mean, maybe not a lot of people, but some people have that mentality for the same reason that I do. That was kind of their introduction to it. Mm-hmm. If I'm making sense. Yeah, but I like the way that... But Wicca is the duology, though, because it's got the god and the goddess. That's why I'm like, I think it's more goddess-centered Wicca or some goddess-centered...
Well, I mean, and yeah, I think like the more new age it's gotten, the more goddess centered it has become because like, okay, so the gynocratic age is what they call the period of time. I know, I hate the term.
I do too.
That we were basically discussing where there's this theory because none of this is written history. Okay, guys. So there's this theory that, 5,000 years ago is when the patriarchy started taking over. Prior to that, up until 2 million years ago, it was the gynocratic age. Because women...
You say it, and now I'm loving it even more. Like, I'm loving the name.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why.
It's very vaginal. Gynecologist, gynocratic.
Maybe we should call this whole episode the gynocratic.
Please no. No, I just... But
Gyno, what?
Oh God, no! I like Rethrone the Crone.
We do have a title.
Yeah, I like. There's something about the word. I'm like, yeah, vagina worship. Look,
I don't hate it. If I'm being honest with you, if you saw my to be read pile, you would know I don't hate it.
I love my vagina. Like,
well, no, what I mean is I like the theory. I'm sorry, but what I mean is I like the theory of the vaginal worship or whatever.
I don't dislike it. I don't know that I agree with it because I much believe in the duality of life, what they believed. Well. I believe, okay, so what the gynocratic age is, from 5,000 years ago to 2 million years ago, basically, people did not understand that man had any part of the reproductive process and thought women, like trees, just fruited when they were ripe, and they worshipped us for that. And I get that you're loving this. But
I am.
I firmly believe
it sounds like amazing fan fiction.
Like duality, or I'm calling it duality because it just makes sense to me to call it that, is the belief that, man understood, and this is what I truly believe, man understood that, just like rain from the heavens is what helped the crops grow, homeboy's ejaculation is what helped our bellies grow. And they knew that man and woman coming together is what resulted in procreation.
Well, and my thing is like, when did that... I'm sorry, just so I can get the timelines correct. When was ancient Greece?
2,700 years ago. They're the newest of the ancients.
Okay.
They're like, everything went east to west. So like, religion started in the east, it moved out into, Eurasia, then it moved out a little bit further.
Okay, so they definitely knew it took a man and a woman. to have
Yes,
sex.
and they were a patriarchal society.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
100%. They definitely, I mean, we say they definitely knew. We assume they definitely knew based on everything we can find in literature because they had written word
Right.
by then. I truly believe that because of the way that we started with worshiping anything was all about earth itself. And so I believe that just like so there's this, just like, okay, Beltane's coming up, right? Like by the time you guys listen to this, Beltane's going to be over. But Beltane, it's a fertility festival.
Yes.
Check out last season. We've got fire, fertility, and flowers or something like that. It's our Beltane episode. It's good. Anyway, so it's a fertility festival, right? We have sex.
Lots of it.
Lots of it. And part of that, we have sex, lots of it, is so that we have babies at a prime time for our babies to like survive their first winter, right? But also part of it is the earliest way that religion, worship of any kind happened, because religion came out of a place of like being terrified of the world killing you, right? Because like, we had so many predators.
Check out our fairy episode on that one. So much.
But like all of this stuff came out of man wanting to have some kind of control over what was around him.
And by man, you mean people.
Yes, man and woman. Woman, WOMMON. There is no man in woman, except when we want it. Never mind. I'm sorry. It's bad. That's the 19.
Well, that's the gynocratic age right there.
Yeah, that was feminism in the 90s. Like you spelled woman without putting man in it by going WOMMON to spell woman.
I actually love it.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all.
I don't hate
it at all. I had PC fairy tales, damn it. That was a great book. My parents knew I would love it and they were right. But anyway,
as
man and woman, religion came out of being afraid of like our world killing us and whatever, right? So we worshipped like the fruitful lands and stuff. And so like our first way of worshiping was like emulating what we wanted to happen. So we knew that sex led to babies and rain led to crops. So we would have sex where the man ejaculates into the woman to create babies.
I'm sorry, that was like a creepy little laugh. I'm so sorry. I was just like, Amber's giving us the sex talk. That's what I was thinking. I don't know why the fuck that laugh came out the way it did. I sounded like a creep on the bus.
It's fine. Like the way I said that, like, it was weird. I was like, I am giving the sex talk.
You are.
It's because that's where religion, like, that's where it comes from. And, like, that's where worship started, is, like, we literally had sex so that crops would grow. And that is why I believe in, like, the duality thing. And so I love the gynocratic age belief, but I can't believe in it. It's an interesting
You can't believe
theory.
that they didn't know.
Yes, I can't believe they didn't know.
I get what you're saying. I think maybe they did know, and women were still in charge and worshipped because we had the ability to carry children. They didn't. We did. So in their eyes, we would still be worshipped, right?
Well, I get that, except like part of the gynocratic age theory where patriarchy takes over 5,000 years ago, part of that theory is that's when they realized men had something to do with creating the baby. So then men now felt ownership over the kid that they they didn't previously feel ownership over because they didn't have any part of creating it. And so like, I love what you're saying. Like I said, I like it. I love it. I think women were worshipped. I do. I truly do. I don't fall into this thought process. But that's where I think the goddess taking precedence over the god comes into play. But like, I believe that the goddess took precedence over the god anyway, very much from the line of what you just said, because she is the one that carries and nurtures the baby and the child. And in a lot of cultures, she's the head of the household. Even if the man's the head of the household, the woman's really running shit.
She's running shit. The men think they're the head of the household.
Right. And a good man knows he's
not.
Just
pretends. It's a pretend we just
we both know that she's in charge, and we let me pretend I'm in charge as long as I do what she says.
Why don't they just get it?
And to our male listeners, I hope I did not offend you. I'm sure you are a wonderful partner. I don't mean anything wrong. Look at history, okay? I'm just saying.
Well, speaking of strong females throughout history, can we discuss Artemis for a second?
For sure, because I was gonna say I learned recently in Slavic culture any holiday for a god, the night before is a holiday for a goddess.
I love that.
The goddess is honored before the god is honored, and Artemis would truck with that.
Well, I love Artemis. It's Artemis and Diana, right?
Artemis is connected to Diana. Diana is her Roman name.
I saw a really funny meme of Artemis, and it was like, Artemis, what even are you the goddess of? And she was like, virginity, while being surrounded by all these naked women. She's like, we're virgins. Well,
and technically, Artemis, she is kind of a matriarch in her own way because she does spurn off men. And Artemis, or I guess Diana, in Roman culture, she leads the wild hunt. Right. She and her followers go through the woods, and any man they come upon is going to be torn to fucking shreds. That's how...
oh my God.
Bacchus kills somebody, or Dionysus.
What an amazing movie. I feel like it'd be advertised as a horror movie, but I don't think it'd be a horror movie.
Maybe that's porno.
You think so?
A bunch of rabid,
naked women. They're like, oh my God, I am not going to finish that.
I don't even know that they'd be classified as lesbians or not, because I'm not sure where all of that falls for the followers of Diana and Artemis. But a bunch of naked women who couple with at least women, if not women and men, running through the forest naked, looking for men to eat up.
Can someone please write this?
Okay.
Make this. No, I don't want to see it. I want to see it in my mind. I want to read it. Please, somebody read it. Because I feel like it reminds...
I just saw it in my mind, and I think it's a lot less bloody than it's supposed to be.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was literally debating with myself as you were saying this. I was like, this sounds kind of sexy. And then I was like, wow, I bet it wasn't. I bet it was actually horrific.
There's an episode about Bacchus that I think it's Bacchus. It's either Bacchus or Dionysus that I was like, we should do this later in the summer or something. And the end of it is his enemy gets ripped apart by them ladies.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, and in my head, I was just imagining, what the fuck is it called? We just released an episode about it February. Lupercalia, but it's not fun running the woods with naked women like Lupercalia.
Right, no, it's not for coupling purposes. They're gonna couple after they rip you apart, dude.
I know, and I'm over here
covered in blood. Wow,
it sounds really erotic.
It does.
That's the only way I can
trying to make murder sound.
That's
sexy.
the only way I can describe it, because I don't feel comfortable saying sexy. I think the term erotic is probably the best term.
My point is, I'm not trying to make murder sound erotic, and unfortunately, that is what I'm doing.
Well,
and I don't mean it.
No, because I think the whole thing... Oh, you got frogs.
Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, we got frogs.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can hear them.
Yeah, they're out there.
They're calling their ladies. Yeah. Yes, I can hear them.
The little men are calling the big ladies, because the ladies are big. Because, you know what? Animals have a lot of matriarchs.
Oh my God, look at the female birds. Look at the female birds.
Female fish.
Mm-hmm. Female frogs, like you said, spiders.
The males are the ones that have to be all colorful, because the ladies get plenty of pickings.
Right, exactly.
They get to choose. You got to prove yourself to them.
I do love the sound. Do you ever get big ass frogs that are so loud at nighttime? Yes. And
it gets overpowering.
Can you all hear this? Can you hear this?
I wonder how much is going to get edited out.
Oh no. Okay, because that motherfucker is singing. He's looking for a lady.
And that's not loud. It gets so much louder when there's a dozen frogs all at the same time trilling.
I do love the sound.
It's really
Is it
pretty.
relaxing though?
It can be, but like for the kid whose room is on the other side of the wall from that pond.
Well, I feel like does it fall in
all night?
Well, does it fall in the background, kind of like we're not at that point in life yet,
if it stayed this volume.
The cicadas, you go out and they're like, ah!
They freak me out.
I don't like how they look, but I like the sound. And it never occurred to me. Did you know? Well, you probably did. You fucking lived all over. I'm pretty sure there's not cicadas up north in certain areas.
Yeah, I didn't know of them until I moved.
Somebody said that.
Well, not here specifically, but
on Facebook.
Below the Mason-Dixon line.
Well, somebody said on Facebook, like, no, you don't understand. I lived in the north, and then I came to the south, and the trees scream. The trees were screaming. It was the most surreal thing I've ever heard.
That would be weird. I feel for that person, but at the same time, like, I understand because, like, I had a cicada get trapped in between, like, two panels of my glass door in the back. Gosh. And, like, that shit was terrifying. And, like...
They're big and
I was,
scary.
Like, 23 or something. 25. I was terrified because it sounded way bigger than it was. And it was like, oh, it was horrible. Sorry, cicadas freak me out.
They are horrible.
Yeah, the frogs are pretty. I like the frogs. They do get really fucking loud.
You know, I feel like you said, there needs to be that duality.
Yeah, I agree.
And throughout history, whether it's always been one way or the other. You know, mostly one way. But because apparently there's not much research to back the gynecology.
Yeah, like, so so within the last 5,000 years, we've had the Zoroastrians and the Mesopotamian culture. We've had, like, all of the pagan cultures that we know about, the Slavs, then the Norse, then the Celts, then the Greeks and the Romans. Because I didn't mention the Asian cultures because, like, Mesopotamia and Zoroastrians, like, that stuff started in, like, the Asian countries and moved, further westward as it brought religion. But, like, at the same time, like, I say that, but before religion, quote unquote, was brought to all these areas by where religion started, anybody that was a body had their own, like, earth-based kind of religion. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I was giving everybody the birds and the bees talk. So, like, I believe that in the beginning, like, I believe that it was this, like, duality of we worked together. Like, the women did the things that the women were good at, and the men did the things that the men were good at. And I'm not trying to sound 1950s on you guys. I'm saying, like, I think humanity worked together like, for the betterment of all. Just like, okay, we've got people who are night owls and we've got people who are morning birds or early birds, right? Like, that's from back when, like, people worked together. So the people that were late night people, they stayed up later and kept watch for safety's sake. And then they went to bed when the early people got up. You know what I mean? Like, we all lived together, like, communally. We lived together. These are my beliefs, guys. These are just my beliefs. And, like, I think there probably were either a group of elders of both, of all genders involved, or a couple of elders involved. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think it was less likely that just two people were involved.
Right.
But in smaller societies, because, like you mentioned, like the
little
different villages
yes.
and stuff.
I am so sorry to the camera. I was listening to you and I was imagining it in my head, and I feel like I zoned out and stared in front of the camera. Check us out on YouTube if you want to see that.
I do that. I know when I'm not wearing my glasses, I wonder how often I'm just, like, squinting at you or squinting at the camera.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, like, we need that duality because the crone is very important.
Absolutely.
In the last 5,000 years, she's been systematically removed except for a handful of societies.
I mean, there were crones removed from the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Many crones removed from the Bible.
Absolutely.
And it seems like specific people, no names, want to remove this very important person first of all, from history. I mean, there's even, debate on whether or not the Bible once had a goddess.
Well, and I was reading something about the fact that, like, even women that are important in the Bible, they're only used as, like, plot points or, like, backups for somebody else in the Bible.
Right.
They never have their own role of importance.
Well, and some of them do, but you don't see it. I mean, for example, Mary's mother.
Yeah, but she was removed from the Bible.
She was, I suppose you're right.
Yeah,
she was removed
but like, Mary was left, but not her main book, like we've talked about before in Behind the Scenes, which if you want access to, be a patron on patreon.com. Slip that in all awkward like. But like, she was removed from the Bible, and like, Mary herself, she only has like this little bitty role compared to what she should really have.
Right.
And on top of it, she's basically just supporting caste.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Except for the Catholics, who do revere her more than anybody else.
Exactly.
But like, the other religions don't revere her as much because they don't want to take away from the male characters, which is crazy.
Right.
Like, no, I'm sorry. Like,
right. So there's been this
a magic woman.
There has been this whole thing for thousands of years where we're removing this, sorry.
No, you're good. I just wanted to give you room to move.
Important figure, and not just religion, but also just our society as a whole. We have to have, this, I'm going to call it goddess. We have to have this goddess energy, this vibe, this person to take up this role. But what people have said is, okay, we will allow you to take up this goddess role without giving you any credit. You can do it in the background, and we're going to overthrow anything that you do. And it's not actually sacred. It's what you're supposed to do, so you're going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been a consolation prize.
It's, well, that, and also it's been the role of the goddess within society, within household, even. As much as that role is sacred, it's been turned to where it's not. It's actually below. You know what I mean? As opposed to up and equal. And sometimes, and not sometimes, but in some societies, even higher than, you know what I mean? It's been made to be like, for example, don't be a girl. You know what I mean? It's been made to be an insult.
Yeah, no, like, I grew up as a girl feeling like being just a girl wasn't enough. Right. I mean, there's a song about it. It's called Just a Girl.
I'm just a girl. Yeah, I love that song.
I'm just a girl in the world. I can't go out on my own.
I love that song.
Can't drive by myself at night. Like, that song is, thank you, Gwen Stefani. You did something right in your life.
I do like that song. I do.
Yeah.
Holla back, girl. That's a different one. But
yeah, I know. Like, I've got Spiderwebs playing in my head, and I'm like, no, I need you to bring up Just a Girl. I'm trying to sing that.
Well, and it's like,
walking in the spiderwebs.
It's just been invalidated. How about that? Is that what we want to say? Invalidated?
Invalidated? Yeah, like, it's become novelty.
Exactly.
I feel like it's become novelty, to be perfectly honest, which I think is why I am drawn more to honor goddesses than gods. I do honor some gods, like Veles, but
I find myself,
Rod, the god of my ancestors.
I find myself working with more goddesses, and the gods that I do end up acknowledging for the most part is Hades, and he's nice. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's like, it's funny because I'm like, Veles is the god that I love the most out of the Slavic path, and he's the god of the underworld.
I know.
And the waters and the protector of like the cattle and shit.
Like the Hades,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And it's like something like it goes along with a lot of the stuff that I'm already knowing.
Hades is the original billionaire, like, CEO zaddy. Speaking of, there is this book I want to read. It's called Into the Darkness. I don't know who it's by, but it's like Hades owns this. I'm sorry to get off subject, but it's not really. Hades owns this club in New Athens. That's what it's called. And people make bets with Hades. On
Job? So I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
No, it was just it was a bad joke. Like God and the devil make bets on Job.
Oh.
The book of Job.
Oh.
Really bad book.
But anyway, so he makes bets, and Persephone comes in, and she makes a bet that falls through. She loses the bet. So she's got to be in the underworld for 6 months. And I'm like, I got to read that. I hear it's really good. It's called A Touch of Darkness. I don't know who it's by. If you guys have read it, let me know if it's good.
Fair enough. I'm over here like you saw the look on my face, YouTube, or Maddie. My look was like, we say the original Zaddy, and I'm like, Pedro Perez, you could be our Velez.
Pedro Pascal,
you could be our Velez. Damn it, you're fine. I thought your name was Perez. Damn it, that was like
actually, you guys should sign up on our Patreon.com/WitchesTalkingTarot, because on Amazon they have a prayer candle with Daddy Pedro Pascal, and we need it.
We need it for our right here. Yeah.
We need it for reasons.
We need it for right here.
Just reasons, not a love spell. That's for sure.
But Pedro, you could be our internet daddy and supply the show with some much needed funding. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, guys. I know you're tired of us making this joke. We'll move on.
Sorry, guys.
But like the matriarchy, or I'm sorry, the crone is really important, and matriarchies understand that. Like, I don't necessarily 100% agree with matriarchies, but they are very interesting. I personally believe in duality because I think you need that male energy and that female energy, like the masculine energy and the feminine energy.
We need the god and goddess.
You need the balance. You need the god and the goddess. But like, in and of themselves, matriarchies are amazing. Like the Amazons, we'll do an entire episode on them. But like, they're a matriarchal society, not just a matriarchal society, but a warrior matriarchal.
There was some society. I don't know if it was
came from the coast of Turkey near the Black Sea.
I don't know if it was the Amazons or who, but I swear I read about a tribe and they cut their noses off. They not only cut their noses off, but they cut scars or scratches into their faces because they wanted to make themselves as unattractive.
I don't know. I didn't come across that when I was reading about the Amazons. So I didn't.
Maybe
go, like,
it wasn't
super in depth. I don't know.
If you guys know, let us know in the comments on YouTube.
Yeah, like the different things that the name Amazon could mean. Like one of them is cut off breast.
Yeah. Which makes sense. They be getting in the way, like when you're wielding a sword.
But there's other things, and they were like, the Greeks really liked the idea that they would mutilate themselves to be better warriors, and I was like, that is fucked up.
Is it to be better warriors, or is it because they're sexualizing things? The Greeks.
No, well, the one was removed so that they could
pull the bowstring.
When they, have you ever tried to draw an arrow?
Yes.
Yeah, your boobs do get in the way, and with guitar, like it's a thing.
Oh yeah, I mean they really do.
They be getting in the way.
And Amazons weren't as pretty as they are in the Super.
I don't know. Like, I like to think they were, but I mean they were Slavic.
Oh my god! I can't believe I fucking said that.
Who were from the Russian steppes? So like, all them warrior matriarchies are Slavic people, and that makes me proud. I cannot lie.
I will have to do more research on it, but I have to say I can't believe I fucking said that because tits don't make you pretty.
Oh.
What? You know what I mean? God damn it, patriarchy.
No, I was going to say, like, I didn't even take it that way personally. Okay. I did not take it that way.
I was like, oh my God.
Because, like, we had just finished talking about how they get in the way. Sorry, YouTube. I realized what I've been doing for like 5 minutes.
No, because I've been sitting there staring as you do it. But I swear, I'm just watching what you're doing. I'm not like, make that the thumbnail. Wow. We'll get so many views.
So many views, Amber. Wow. But yeah, we should do an entire episode on the Amazons.
For sure.
Because like they are warrior women. Like they had war horses. Like fucking amazing.
Hell
like,
yeah.
Really cool. But they were matriarchies. And like, I find it interesting that they were matriarchies who were also warrior societies because we generally don't associate the crone or the maternal leader as somebody who is a warrior. Yeah. I don't know. Is that me? Is that a me thing?
No. I think that's a thing. Yeah. No, I am curious. What does everybody think about the what is it?
The gynocratic age. Because
the gynocratic age.
They truly did believe that during that age, everything was more peaceful and all that because women were like in charge of everything. And you know, in the women-led societies that we have today, they're pretty fucking peaceful. Like, we've got several matriarchies throughout the world.
Well, I'm curious on it. Excuse me, guys. I'm curious on, do people believe that it was a thing, or do you think it's not a thing and it was just a crazy theory invented by women?
I mean, men also thought of that theory.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
Like the original scientists that thought of that theory were men.
Okay, well, then do you guys...
It was popularized in the feminist movement, but the theories that, when I said like it started in the 1700s and 1800s, those were dudes.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's awesome.
Gloria Steinem made it like much more popularized when she mentioned it in 1972 in some speech she made. But yeah, like it originated with men. The theory did. The reason I truly just believe in duality. Like I think ancient man understood the duality of things, and that's why I don't believe in the gynocratic age. If the gynocratic age did not include the thing where the patriarchy takes over because they finally understood that men had something to do with making babies, it would be easier for me to understand. Now, maybe they're right about the gynocratic age and not those other details. And like, I don't not believe that women were celebrated, because I totally believe women were celebrated. I even believe women were worshipped. I believe they were worshipped on their own as well as alongside of men. I believe that the mother was worshipped probably above all things. And the crone is kind of the ultimate mother because she's the mother's mother.
Well, so even in certain modern societies, that's a thing. Like we had mentioned Hispanic cultures, Asian cultures, like it's still a thing to this day. But I am curious, do you guys think that it was a thing? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I'm interested. Like, I do want to mention, like, we've got 5, like one of them I have mentioned before. I've talked to you about walking marriages on other episodes. I'm pretty sure the marriages where like the women are in charge of everything. They have the babies and they raise the kids and they have the households, and men just come and go as they please and all that jazz. Like that is a matriarchal society. It's the Masuo in China.
Oh, wow.
And I watched like this entire documentary on them, and it's like a really cool culture where it's matrilineal. So everything of the mothers goes to the daughter and so forth and so on. The mom raises the kids. The mom has the kid's last name. And you know what this helps with? There are no bastard children in those kinds of
I love that. I love that.
The men don't treat children any differently because the mom could have kids with all sorts of different men. Like it's like all of these societies are like that as far as the kids go. Like, and I think that's really good from a family perspective. Right. You know, because kids don't feel less than. Yes. They are always their mother's child. In Kasi in India, it is like the exact entire opposite of the Indian version of patriarchy. Like when men get married, they go live with their mother-in-laws after they get married. Wow. Yeah, like
not the other way around.
The youngest daughter inherits everything.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That is. I mean, it's not crazy. That's awesome. That's just so different. That's almost the exact opposite of what usually. Yeah, exactly. The eldest son.
Yeah, and these are all matriarchies. So like their political systems are women-led. Like everything is women-led. It's not just matrilineal. Like they are all matrilineal societies, which means it goes from mother to daughter to daughter to daughter. You know what I mean? But they're also like the government and the religion. Everything is completely women-led. There was one. Now in Indonesia, the Minangkabau people, whatever, it's a matrilineal society. Men are in control of politics and spiritual life, but women choose who the clan chief is, and they can remove the clan chief and replace him at will if they don't agree with. Yeah. Wow. And this is current era. This is out there in our world right now. My favorite one though is the Umoja in Kenya. It began in 1990 by Rebecca Lalasoli, and she and 15 other women who had been raped by British soldiers created their own society.
Oh, I saw that. I did see that. Yes, I have seen that.
That's really cool. Like Also, they're about to turn 40, and I can't help but find the humor in a women-led society, and their society is going to turn 40. Like, are they having a midlife crisis? Because they're going to turn 40 and they're a bunch of women. That is a sexist joke on my part. I can't help myself. I think that is a funny thought.
I think that everyone has midlife crises.
Yeah, but
I thought you were
women being like, "We're about to turn 40. Oh my god!"
I thought you were gonna make a menopausal joke.
Oh,
in which case,
never. I'm getting close.
Oh, right.
I'm about to turn 40, and I'm fine with it. But menopause, no, I'm not okay with that. So I can make the 40-year-old joke. I'm older than their society by 7 years. They started in 1990.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no, you said they were turning 40 and I got confused.
I said they're getting close to turning 40.
Right.
Because, like, I realized in 2020 they would have turned 30. Mm-hmm. So, like, they're getting closer and closer to turning 40. And I just thought that was funny. And I guess I am much closer to turning 40, so I can totally make that motherfucking joke. Because I don't care, it's fine. But yeah, I am curious what you guys think about rethroning the crone. How can we give women the appropriate reverence and place in our society that they deserve? Now, I will say, this day and age, I guess we are getting much better at the equality piece when it comes to women. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think we have a ways to go, especially in our organized religions, though. Like, that would be, to me, the biggest place. Because, like, I'm sure women are outnumbered in politics, but there are so many more women in politics than there ever have been before. Except for matriarchal societies when it's only women in politics, right?
Right, I would say so.
So I think we're doing a better job of rethroning
We're getting
the crone.
there, yep.
But we as a society have to shift our mentality. Mm-hmm. Also, we also have to demand that our religious leaders give women the proper respect.
Right.
There's this misunderstanding in the Bible about that when a woman is on her period, she is unclean. But that's a mistranslation. It's actually a woman is so holy when her blood is flowing, a man's not supposed to touch her. It's not that she is unclean. Mm-hmm. It's that she is so holy, you aren't even worthy of my time, my space, my flesh.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
In ancient times, menstrual blood is seen as so holy. Like, we used to put it in our fields to bring prosperity and stuff to our crops and to kill the pests. Uh-huh. Like, menstrual blood is incredibly powerful substance. So, I don't know. I wanted to throw out there for anybody who's listening going, we have, like, yes, we're getting there. We're getting back there. Yes. But we need to get back to equality. Right. Like, right now, we're getting, we went down to, like, this place, okay? And we've been stepping it up. Mm-hmm. But we're still not there. But it's up to us as a people to demand that. Mm-hmm. You can't stand as a Christian or as a Jewish individual or, don't hate me, as a Muslim individual. You cannot stand back while the women of your religion are asking for representation, while they're asking for the ability to step into the role that traditionally a man has held in that church space, and say that because they're women, they're not allowed, they're not supposed to, whatever. Like, am I wrong for what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. I hear you.
I think as a people, for us to get back to that place of rethroning the crone, no matter what our religion is, no matter what our traditions are, we have to be willing to acknowledge the need for equality and fight for that equality among those members of our community who are asking for it. And that goes beyond just women. That is all women. I am all inclusive of all women when I say that. Yeah. All women. And I am inclusive of every body and all genders when I say, if part of your community is calling for equality, if part of your community is asking for respect that is not given to them, it is our duty as citizens of this planet and decent people to step up and say they deserve the rights that everybody else has, or they deserve the rights that have traditionally only been given to men in this place or time. And no offense, men. I'm not saying you're the problem. Please don't misunderstand. I'm literally saying mentality. We all have to change our mentality.
Yep. Mentality. No, I'm just kidding.
Look, I'll stand up on my soapbox here real quick because like I keep having this Stop Jewish Hate stuff come across my timelines, and I follow a lot of transgender pages, and I'm just gonna say, because of some posts I've seen recently, it was less than 75 years ago that the entire world looked the other way while millions of Jewish people were killed. Right now, we have an entire community of disadvantaged individuals that the majority of people want to turn away from. It's up to us as a community of citizens to stand up for those who aren't being heard themselves.
I agree. I think that's a good way to end it too.
Rethrone the Crone,
absolutely.
Yeah. So hey Victoria.
Hey Melissa.
If you want to join them, getting a shout out after Amber's soapbox moment. You can join.
Watch the whole fucking. Yeah. I'm like, people are gonna turn this off and not hear the ending. I'm like, maybe we should have started out with that instead of ended it. But check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to comment, to like, subscribe. We are 10 away from our goal.
Yeah. Check us out on the socials. We're on Twitter at Classiest Witches. We're on Facebook, Witches Talking Tarot. We're on Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot.
And thanks for sitting with us for a spell.
Bye.